When we grew up, we heard all kinds of phrases from our parents, grandparents, and if we were lucky, maybe even our great grandparents, which I was too young to remember my great grandma, even though I was told she simply loved us. But you hear words all the time. And yes, I'm talking about slang words and phrases. Doesn't necessarily have to be, I suppose, a slang word, but phrases that some have died away, and some you would go, I didn't know that started or originated back. Phrases like, and I heard this all the time when I was growing up. My dad used to say it all the time. I'm going to, and he usually meant it in reference to, like if he had a friend or something over, we're going to go out and shoot the breeze. Which, of course, simply means small talk, talking about non important things, catching up, chit chat, And, yeah, I would always hear also the snazzy thing. Oh, you look so snazzy. Now, shoot the breeze, I think they said, came from about like 1919, somewhere in that time frame. And snazzy came from 1932, even though it was said that they sometimes used it earlier than that. We grew up using, phrases like cowabunga or something like that, or all these phrases. And I'm just going to say a few because it would be way too, I have a whole bunch of them written down, but let's face it would be way too long if I said them all in one. Plus, I don't want to bore everyone here. I think it's interesting to hear phrases from way back when. Everyone else may not. And also, I wanted to put out there that one, 3 sheets to the wind. It was kind of like an old sailor thing, but meaning when somebody was so drunk, right? It actually went up to 4 sheets in the wind, which when somebody was so drunk they were passed out. 3 sheets to the wind means really drunk, almost there, and 2 sheets fairly drunk, 1 is tipsy. So now you know. Usually you hear people say 3 sheets to the wind, but that's how things get started sometimes. So I started from the 90s. We'll go through some of those. How about the talk to the hand? I think some of you probably have remembered when Maurice, if you watch WWE wrestling, the one married to Miz, would say, talk to the hand. Which obviously is, means, I don't want to talk to you, talk to the hand. And still today, probably people use that phrase. And as if, even though I think that started before the 90s, but they have it down for that. Obviously meaning it was still popular then. And today, it's still said as if. You still hear it every once in a while. So, how about booyah? I don't know why people said that. It means like, oh yeah, or something, but it's really just kind of a filler thing, right? And booyah! Anyway, just thought I'd throw that one out there. And scrub, which is like somebody with no prospects. That's not something I would want to hear. And Monet, she was a Monet, or he was, I don't know, usually probably said it about a woman, meaning beautiful from a distance, but up close, I want to be a Monet from a distance and up close. Hopefully I am. And crunk, which means a wild and crazy party. I didn't go around in those kind of circles, so some of these words I'm like, okay. I didn't hear the phrase Monet, and I did, of course, about the painter Monet, but I didn't hear about that. And fly, which means cool and awesome. You go, girl. I think we all know what that means. You go, girl. And I will. Home skillet, which means like best bud, confidant. I never heard of that. You know, home skillet to me means frying pan. Kick him to the curb. I think we all heard that one. You usually don't hear kick her to the curb, but I suppose one could say that as well. Kick him to the curb. In fact, I used to hear it sometimes on some of those talk shows like Oprah Winfrey. Kick him to the curb, girl. You go, girl. My bad. Okay, let's face it. That's still out there. It might have started around this time. But people are saying it all the time. So. And skeezy, which means distasteful. Okay. That's such a skeezy outfit. Which might be distasteful for some, but might be. Probably sometimes parents would say that to their teenagers. So skeezy. Oh, wait, or was that sleazy? Anyway. And I have all these. Not in. There we go. And for that was the 19. Now the 80s. Think back a little further, people. Airhead. Yes, I think we all know that one. Airhead, you know. Dumb, stupid. As if. And barf me out. Yeah. Barf me out, you know, that used to talk back then. Bite me. Bite me. Ouch. Bodacious. I like to think that about myself. Crib. Let's go back to my crib and have a crank. Dope. Be a little careful when you use that, because that has two meanings. Sometimes when someone says he's dope, they think that they're insulting someone. You know, dope also sometimes means idiot, right? But we know they're most likely talking about the other kind of dope, where they're saying they're awesome. No, totally two different things. So just make sure when you say this, someone knows what page you're on. And like, it's a filler word, right? And rad. I think everyone remembers that good old rad word. That's so rad. Meaning, obviously, cool and awesome. And words into the 70s. And a half. I guess that's when they started saying things like, that was, I don't know, cool and a half. Or however they would say, someone would say that. I don't think I ever said that kind of thing, but I can imagine it. Boob tube. Yeah. My dad used to say that here and there. Turn on the old boob tube. Brick house. My late husband used to use that a lot, you know. Brick house. She's such a brick house. Not talking about actual brick house, obviously. Talking about the bodacious woman over there. Can you dig it? Can you? And check you later. I like that one. Check you later. Obviously, meaning see you later. Chillax. I think we all like to chillax. Obviously, that's when that phrase kind of started coming around in the 70s. We're in the 70s, right? And people still use it today. Hey, will you chillax? Yeah. Doobie. And no, they don't just mean a normal cigarette. I mean, of marijuana, but I'm sure most people already know that. Freaky deaky. I've heard that phrase before, but not very, Maybe it's been a while. Well, it's been a while since the 70s, so. But there's probably people who say that word today. Are you freaky deaky? Just asking. Funky. Yeah. People probably don't use that quite as much today, but maybe. It's kind of funky. It can have two meanings, right? It can mean, here's the skinny. Here's the whole scope of it. Here's the skinny. And hubba bubba. Maybe that's what people think when I'm walking down the street, huh? Hubba bubba. And right on. Right on, honey. And we'll do the 60s. Freak. I'm not sure if that's saying freak flag or what, so we'll skip that one. Freakily, I don't know. The 60s is probably when they first started saying freak, freaking, hang loose. I think we've all heard this before. Before, my dad used to say, hang loose, and then in the next sentence he would say, hang tight, and I would say, make up your mind. You want me to hang loose or hang tight? And I know it pretty much means the same thing, Just hang there, I'll be back. Fuzz. I guess that was the word they used to call cops. Give me some skin. I'm gonna say that probably means shaking hands. But you could probably make anything you want out of it. Most people do. Bippy. That is the buttocks, the rear end. She's got a cute bippy. He's got a nice bippy. Now people all say, oh, cool, I'll use that word. Can you dig it? Can you? Old lady, there's one. Of course, meaning like wife, fiance, girlfriend, you get the idea. Submarine races. I can't really read what that actually means. I'll have to look that up. But my guess is they're really not talking about submarine races. As cool as that would be. And bread. Well, I think most of us know. You're either talking about a loaf of bread in the refrigerator, which is where I put mine, or you're talking about money. And they're talking about money. Ants in their pants. My mom used to say that all the time. Sit still. You got ants in your pants? I'm pretty sure. You've heard it too. And blitzed. Yeah. Kind of 3 sheets in the wind type of thing, right? And we'll go to the 50s. Ankle biter. No, that doesn't mean somebody biting somebody's ankles, having a foot fetish, even though nothing wrong with that, I suppose. This is the term they use to call small children. I had a couple of those at one time. I had a couple of ankle biters. And bird dog. That's the guy who's standing on the corner trying to get all the girls, How you doing, that kind of thing. And paper shaker. That's what they used to call cheerleaders in the 1950s, I guess. It would be easier just to say cheerleader, but... Hey, did you see that cute paper shaker? And I'm going to passion pit. There's a good one. Did you take her to the passion pit? It's another name for drive-in. You know, like when they used to have them. They used to still have them when I was growing up in the 70s and 80s. It was kind of getting towards the mid to late 80s to 90s when they started taking a lot of those out. Which is a shame because, really, I think I like the idea of a drive-in movie theater where you can actually still look out at the stars and see the movie on the screen. It's really cool. And you didn't feel all the crowd around you. You could just be cozy, cushily, you know. Let's see. Bash. I think we all know what a bash is. Like, we have heard of that before. I'm sure people still say that. Nifty. Yeah, cool, great. Agitating the gravel. Agitate the gravel. And I'm going to guess that's another way of saying getting someone mad. I don't know. Apple butter. That was somebody who was a slick talker. They had a way with words, you know. Apple butter. Bee's knees, even though I think that started in the 1920s. Obviously, that's the bee's knees. That's something good, you know. And we'll go to the 1940s. Anchor clanker. The other day when I first heard that, I just couldn't help but laugh. Even though it's not really a funny thing, but it's just a funny word, because I can imagine the girls did you see that anchor clanker? Oh, Marcia, he was so cute. Just another name for a sailor, you know. Ahoy and all that, you know. Broad woman, right? We all know that. They used to, that's probably when they said that a lot back in those movies back then. Oh, the broad, you know. And dame too, that's also in here. Cookie. She's my cookie. Do you see that cookie over there? It just means cute girl. And when I mean cute girl, yeah, I'm meaning like a grown-up-ish girl. I'm pretty sure they didn't. Although you could call your little cute little kid girl a cookie, just have to have a different meaning for it. That would just have to be a sweet thing. Doll dizzy. He was so doll dizzy. Well, one would hope so. That's just a way of saying he was girl crazy. That's how we want the guys to be, right? Just saying. Well, until they are just, you know, honed in on one, but, you know, you get what am I meaning. Okay. Ducky shin cracker creaker. An awfully long, weird, awkward name for a great dancer. But this is the 1940s. I'm just kidding. Now, you people from the 1940s. Glitterati. Glitterati just means a wealthy party, people's party or something. Or I think. Khaki wacky or khaki, yeah. Girl who is boy crazy, I think. Well, good for her. Cut a rug. That means to do a dance, to go dancing. Natch, which means of course, certainly, of course it means that, you know, natch. And gobbledygook. I think most of us heard that phrase before. That's so gobbly. Now we know it started more or less in the 1940s. Probably. At least was around since the 1940s. Maybe even longer. The 1930s. But he's a butter and eggs guy. That means he's the breadwinner. He's a wealthy, they're actually talking about the wealthy guy though. Not just any guy. The wealthy, the rich guy. Butter and eggs man. Ring-a-ding-ding. don't really think we knew much about that, but that means great. Great party, I think, is what it means. It was such a great ring-a-ding-ding. Next time you are in a great party, you just have to ring that. And people probably look at you like, huh? Well, back in the 1930s, you would have known what I was talking about. Grifter, con man or con woman. Slip me 5. Today, if you say that, somebody might put a $5 bill in your hand, which wouldn't be a bad thing, but really that just means shaking hands. Clam bake. A great fun party. Bumping gums. I know that sounds like it's talking about kissing, but it's actually, we were bumping gums. I guess you could say that. But it also means you were talking about nothing important. You know, you were shooting the breeze, in other words. Abercrombie. That's what they used to call, back in the 1930s, a know-it-all. He's just an Abercrombie. I'm sure you know a lot of those people, too. Yeah. DOS. Sleep. Oh, okay. Egg and coffee. That means everything is running smoothly. Or, to most of us, it just means breakfast, right? And honey cooler. Give me a honey cooler. Kiss. Boy, they had such strange things to say back then. But anyway. Okay, we'll do the 1920s and then we'll stop before this gets any longer. The berries. It's the berries. It's the best. Snazzy. I have that down there. But that theoretically was a 1932 thing, but the word's been around longer. Just the meaning of it, snazzy, like, it looks so snazzy. You know, that pretty much started in 1932, he said. But we can have it for the 1920s. Who's to say it didn't start then? Father Time. And most of you probably listening to this, that could be you. Back in the 1920s, you know, when they had the flappers and everything else going. If you were 30 or over 30, you were Father Time. You were old, man. Can you dig it? Yeah. And gams. What's a gam? I would show you, but my legs don't go up that far. It's legs. She's got some nice gams. You could say that today and nobody would even know what most likely you were talking about. But you would. Glad rags. Put on your glad rags and we'll, cut a rug. That means your party clothes. Handcuffed. That would be engagement ring. Although a very insulting way to put it. At least I think most of us women would think that. Guys, just saying. Let's blow, which means let's go. Tomato, whatever. When they used to call you a tomato, and it was a girl terminology. They were saying, all beauties, no brain. So it wasn't exactly, I don't know, probably something you want to be called back in the 1920s. And giggle water, I always like that one. Giggle juice, your alcoholic beverage, you know, because you'll do a lot of that. And Banks closed. Banks closed means no making out. Not getting that. Bubs. It means boobs or bosom. Bubs. B-U-B-S. A new word yet. Of course, back in the 1920s. So, but yeah, close enough, I think. People would even know what you're talking about today. And let's see, choice bit of calico. Wait, well, you can guess that's something nice. She's a choice bit of calico. Just means she's a desirable woman. And we will stop there. Yes, I have still the 1900s and some 1800s, but we'll do that another day, as this video is, well, it's already really long for me. So, I'll wish you a great Friday rest of your night, a great, wonderful July 4th weekend, and over and out.